person. I'm always complaining about how hot it is. I'll take it off when I get off camera or unless I fall asleep. But I'm not gonna let people see my fat ass right. I'm just not. I'm just not. What are you doing? Where you at? My house? Okay. Bathroom? What do you mean where I'm at? Okay. Maybe my eyes get stuck like that. They probably would. I should would have definitely have it to me. I'm gonna start doing that for you. So what? At least I brushed. So what? At least I brushed. Some people don't even brush. You're supposed to brush at least for 5 minutes long, but if I were to brush for 5 minutes long, I'm just gonna be like, oh, you're on something. Because why are you brushing for so long? And you're supposed to brush your teeth for 5 fucking minutes, like really. Okay, yeah, you're right. You brush too hard. Yeah, that makes it easier. Yeah, makes it easier. You brush your head. What should I get done? Like, who doesn't brush their, like, should I brush my tongue underneath my tongue? Okay. Ah. Oh, Lord. It's freaking hot. Fuck. And then oh my god. It's fucking hot. My hands really cold. I don't want to rip them out. I don't want to rip them out. Hold on. My mom always like gives that fucking cigarette, just throw it the fuck away. Why the fuck does she leave it there? I'm supposed to do. Just fucking throw it away. After it's looking for flushes, or fucking throw it away. Like the fuck. She always leaves it like there, like and like all damp and shit. Like, bro, like what? Just throw it away. Hold on. I don't like this one because there's alcohol in it. But wait, do I want to eat yogurt right now? I don't have any floss. Because if I eat yogurt, it's going to taste like shit too. No, I don't like brushing my teeth with the alcohol in. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. It has to be non-alcoholic. I don't like it. No. I don't like the one that's like non-alcoholic. That's like it's more tolerable for fat. Okay, wait. Let's split. I gotta clean this mess now. I'm making a huge mess. That I need to get like other paper because like, Mom, where if I use this dirty ass clothes? No, it's not gonna. I have to go get window spray. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll BRB. I couldn't find any spray to clean like the windows. So like, just a little bit of water to put this paper home. It was way too damp. Yeah. And if we didn't have to go and get another paper, it's really too damp. Oh, something. Hold on, here. Yeah. But why can't I wash here in my room like this? I think I have to like bathe it in like alcohol because it has like oil stuck on the glass. So it doesn't clean properly. And this mud just like, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I say crazy. I fucking scraped off this look. I'm gonna scar because like I was like rubbing too hard. I didn't clean up my eyebrows. I mean my eyes. I should have. Okay, I'm trying to like stay hydrated and I should have.
Is that how you say it? Abigail or Abigail? Happy birthday, Abigail. I hope
Is there some white shit in my hair?
you have a great day and that everything goes well, get well, please. I'm hard-headed when you keep responding. It literally makes no sense. I'm not going to be on Shirley University. Actually, it's funny that someone... Trust me, we knew. Not to be rude, but it's so come on, you don't even actually stream, you don't even care, pop in, you care about your internet. A person that really cares about streaming and really wants to stream, you know what they would do? They would go get a job so they can actually have equipment and somewhere to stream. Because they actually care. Tobias is that anything goes as long as it involves me avoiding work at any cost. They have posted a lot of the people that got on Streamer University are celebrities. Like Sky Jackson's on Streamer University. Mind you, these are people that they know is gonna bring drama and generate views. It's all about views. They're not gonna have someone on Streamer University that isn't gonna generate views. Mind you, I was on their account to generate hell views just because me being on there. See, literally the whole local community and the mainstream would be mixed. Those mainstream content creators and streamers and stuff would be looking at Sophia Chu like, what the hell we got going on here? Like, oh man, that would actually be crazy now I think about it. Oh my god. Like, I know my content would get an insane boost because I'm like one of the Sophia guys. So all these people that are like, who the fuck is that? Or who, they come over and they search up Sophia and then Jay Bowens would get some likes.
Well, send me money. What the heck? Everyone wants to freeload off me, dude. They're about fucking me, dude. It's not me. You think like trying to lose weight? You think I'm gonna supplement my dietary needs with just your freaking pictures of your hoo-ha, whatever? No, I'm not. You have some money for sure. No, I don't. I don't have any money. What are you talking about? Don't even, I wasted it on grapes. Bro, hold on, no money at all. What are you talking about? I have to wait till I dry off.
But the views are like normally like if I was to drop a short,
Just kidding. I didn't actually pull it like that. All violently.
YouTube one might have 6 views. TikTok one
I didn't.
300, 400,
I would have like.
maybe just
My eyelashes are already like. I don't feel comfortable like screaming because like my mother's just like. All fucking day. It's her house. So she can do that. I still need to dry off because I feel like that shit is. I don't feel good. Hold on. Oh. Okay. Can't do shit all day. Have I been able to monetize any of these videos? Nope. Neither. Fine. It's fine. I do have popsicles for fun. I'm trying to lose weight. And if someone's giving me $5, I will. Girl, what about me? Y'all think those popsicles are like literally like free? Y'all think the government's handing out those popsicles? I have to fucking buy them. Like, what the fuck? I have to fucking buy these things. Like, girl, I literally broke 2 of my toys this past week and like, I already ordered another one, but like, still. Like, who's it up? Why can't one of you guys like fucking buy me one? That part, dude. You guys are selfish. I mean, well, if someone gives me $5, maybe I will. Like, I'm really struggling with my weight. Maybe I should like asking me to do that. Like, oh, I fucking good, dude. Holy shit. I don't want to sit next to the extension cord. Because I'm like trying to just. Yeah. My God, that's goes out, dude. I'm trying to help you that pain. Well, yes, we are. What? You're selfish. I know you guys want to contribute. Well, now I want to contribute towards my dietary funds. No, they're not 0 calorie. They are sugar free, but they still have calories. Like sugar free is actually bullshit. Because it has something called like sugar alcohol or something like that. Kind of like molasses. No, not really like molasses. What am I talking about? I'm just kidding. Never had molasses. Oh, my fucking smile. Should I get a popsicle? Okay, fine, I will. But I just couldn't wash my teeth, dude. My lashes are like sticky. And it's like bothering the fuck out of me. I should like probably take out the glue before I sleep. It's like, I'm so lazy. I don't want to. But I should. I probably should. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to take the glue off. Yeah, I did lost in my oil. Put it on my eyelashes, waiting like 10 to 15 minutes for it to like dissolve it. And going and washing my face like twice because I have to like probably do it twice just to get the glow up for sure. You watch. And like I woke up the other day and like my eyelashes like stuck on my like skin on it and like it like this part hurts actually. Okay, I'm gonna have to take that shit off. I'm all refusing to like and then I'll be bitching about it later like I'll be bitching about like when I get like acne or like I got like acne like right here but like I literally like go to sleep with glue on my eyelashes so the fuck. Hold on. It's like glue on my Alright, good night. I'll reply to you later. Sorry, I'm like really. I'm still on my period though. Now I'm gonna go blind from the oil getting into my eye. But I need to do it because like the glue. Guys, what goes my eye? Should get like one of my little brush things. I thought if you take this glue off too. Would think they look like cat's hair. I'll wake up with like cat hair like stuck on my eyelashes. And I wonder why I get like really bad like allergies and congestion. I'm like getting like if you have a cat or dog hair or whatever, like stabbing my eye, fucking all that. Literally. Oh. I have to go wash my face again. Again. I have to go wash my face again. Fucking again. Fucking annoying. BRB. I'll be right back, bro. I'm reading. She's boring. Absolutely nothing. Well, then get the fuck out of here. That's it. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Go fucking watch something else. You fucking nincompoop. Freaking nincompoop, dude. Bro, you straight up nincompoops need to get the fuck out. Like you fucking nincompoop. Anyways. Oh, I just fucking pulled my hair. So I'm going bald. Oh, I can't see, dude. Literally. Cut some shit. And my eyes like blurry. No, yeah, I'll fucking block you and do you a favor. Bye, bro. What? Miss dude, I'll fucking whine you and shit. Like, stop bitching. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't make this one, okay? Then no, I don't have a filter on either. Kind of like, too nice here. No, I put it wrong. No. Okay, there. Is it charging? Hold on. Is it charging? Yes, it is. All risk the possible hair loss. Like that. Like this. I put this penny on it. No, sit down. Let's see, we'll push it out. I don't even have one, dude. What are y'all talking about? Oh, my fat ass arms need to hide. Well, my face is too fat, you know? I don't like this. This is like the best eye bags. I swear it's like a shadow being cast. I feel like put it. I don't have it last night. I can have it there. I think I'll still do it to my food. I'm gonna fart. And I let that one rip. Oh, so it's gonna keep us. I don't like to start with the chicken. I already did fart. I can't like force it or else we'll probably like pop like a vessel or some shit. We'll probably pop a button then. baby. Mhm. A body, after using a body. Oh boy. Oh, oh, Gary. Let me get away from you. That's all you do. I couldn't reach for the wifey, so I just got right in the bathroom. Well, what was I saying? I don't know. Or two. I don't like for you. Whatever. Being selfish. But I'm giving some help for now. I'm gonna like stop acting like I'm looking for you. Or do some research. Y'all need to do some research. Gotta risk it for the biscuit. Come on. If my fatness is more emphasized, I'll have to change it. There's probably more. They don't want you to cut out. It's like so hard. It's just like so hard to get like the camera's caption. Or maybe I'm just like fat and take up too much space. Oh my god. Oh, I love Belgian chocolate. I love Belgian chocolate. Ooh. That's my shit. I'm purchasing lemon juice. Yeah, and I am. Oh no. You can wait and say back to it. Yeah. I don't want to fall asleep at 9 hours. I'm going shitty. Real shitty. Oh my freaking period. I'm wearing, I feel like I'm wearing a diaper. I really feel like I'm wearing a diaper. Yes, it is hot. Yeah, you're like, why am I sweating? Yeah. Right? It is currently 89 degrees. My phone, I percent. Good night. I'm on my period. were to make an Amazon wish list and I add like a toy or somebody buys me, I would definitely feel better, but I'm not going to use it to make it later. That would definitely like technically I'm gonna egg it. It's like, you know. So like, that'd be so cool. Who's gonna buy it for me? But like, I don't know. You know, I really want to buy all of it. You just want everything from me.
Which is crazy. How does she qualify for like a house, potentially? Like it's just like if you're in a shelter for long enough, you just get a house. Like, I can see a whole bunch of lazy people like slick, like quitting their job and then just being like, "Why you just stay in the shelter? If I stay there for like a year." Imagine it's like you stay there for like 2 years, you just get a house. And I'm assuming you don't have to make payments once you get to the house, or there is something they're making payments for you because. I mean, how dude, she doesn't talk like she would be trying to find a way to make payments on the house. Because she never talks about a job or a steady income or anything like that, you know?
Housing is not based off of having a job. There are new housing programs in New Mexico and Albuquerque that is for people with no income. They literally pay for people's housing. Someone got in the housing program and paid dedicated housing for 10 years.
Well, that's pretty messed up, Albuquerque. That's pretty messed up.
It's just frustrating. And the reason why I bring up the motor card is because why should I make it not a safe place? People don't realize and understand it's not an entitlement thing. When you victim of a violent crime, you deserve to have a place to live. If you look,
I can think of plenty of victims of violent crimes, and none of them are getting free houses. Like, I need to make some calls. Like, yo, we gotta make some calls, people. Call all your people, let them know. If they've ever dealt with any type of, violent crime situation, then they deserve a house. Yeah.
do something like
Imagine the fraud that would come out of that. Like, people would be over here, like one dude, like, fake robs a dude. Like, he gets caught. Let's say he goes to jail for 6 months for robbing the dude. And then they both get a house, and they just split the house.
that, and you were displaced, and you didn't have a home, I would feel the same way too. I would obviously feel that you deserve a place to live, a safe place. I would not be sitting here saying you don't deserve nothing. People.
I'm not saying if you're not working for it, you deserve nothing. Like, if you're not trying to work for it and you're fully capable, if you're not capable, then okay. And I get it, I already know these programs, it's made for people who probably aren't capable, which that I'm all behind. But Sophia's perfectly capable and liable to work. She can work. She just chooses not to. So that's why I don't want her to have free stuff. I mean, it's not, I feel like that's not hateful. That's just kind of wanting your society to run correctly. And also, I think it's also taking money directly out of the pockets of people that actually need it when she does this type of stuff.
Literally makes fun of the fact that my girlfriend was keeping taken down. I never spend any money of that money that got refunded back to people because they couldn't get a hold of my brother's friends. That money is long gone. I never gonna see that money. That money was needed for us to move, and now I can't even get a place. I could have got a car, I could have buried my brother, I could have done everything that I needed to do. It got refunded. And if you think I'm gonna let that go, I'm not gonna let it go because
You kind of gotta let it go at this point. Like, I mean, there's really nothing you can do about it.
I lied and said that I scammed people. I have proof on GoFundMe. That's not why the GoFundMe got taken down. I'm gonna sue you for that money. Whoever started that rumor, which I know who did, is going to get sued. One way or another, I'm going to give them my money. You can chuckle it up all you want. It won't be funny when that person has
It's crazy. Like, shit, how did you know I was, like, chuckling?
anyway. Yeah, sorry was asked trippy. She wants to, and the only reason why she's talking about the yellow drama is because
Okay, well, that's enough Sophia yapping for today. But yeah, this was interesting. Let me know, what do you guys think was the most interesting part of, like, the Sophia video for today? Was it, what we had, there was that guy that she was talking about, she was kind of talking about her love life a little bit. She was talking about, obviously, her being a victim. She's a victim. And, of course, we know she's been talking a lot about these vouchers. So just let me know. Hit the like button, hype this up, everything. We're trying to make a comeback right now, guys. We're making a comeback, and I'll be here for you guys if you're here for me. So, hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. If you guys aren't on anything, definitely check out some of my other videos, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Gotta hold me right now.
In a prison cell in South Korea, there's these two very pretty, very young girls sitting at the edge of their prison beds. They're in the same cell, and they're either going to be very friendly or they're going to rip each other apart by the end of this. There's going to be no middle ground here. So they start feeling each other out. And how old are you? I'm 95. You? Side note, in Korea, usually when someone asks you for your age, you give them the year of your birth first. It's interesting, but 95 meaning 1995. So by this point, she would have been, what, maybe 24, 25 when they met?
So interesting, isn't that like more math you have to do?
Yeah. I guess they don't really care how old you are. They want to know if you're older and how many years in relation. But then when you give birthdays and dates, it gets confusing, right?
Yeah, okay, so all we care about is the seniority. Like,
Exactly. So if we're both 95, then the next question would be what month? And then it's very quick to decide who's older. The other girl goes, I'm 91, so that means I'm 4 years older than you, and you're on me, I guess, which is like an older sister. So what are you in here for? Fraud? You? Drugs. These two girls, Nami and SJ, would smile at each other, because this was good. This was very good. They got to planning. They promised each other once they got out, they would get apartments in the same building, just a few floors apart, so that they could always be together. They felt a friendship that was developing. And while they're planning their futures out together, on the other side of the world, Parasite was winning an Academy Award for Best Picture. Standing on stage, feeling on top of the world, would be Lee Sung-gyu. He was an A-list actor in South Korea already, but this is like a new height of his career, a new height of fame. He's internationally known now. But in less than 4 years, he would end up dead. And these two girls from prison would have something to do with it. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the JED Foundation, a nonprofit that protects emotional health and prevents suicides for our nation's teens and young adults by giving them the skills and supports that they need to thrive today, but also tomorrow. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team of dedicated researchers and translators. We'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates of these causes. Now, as always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. We did have our Korean translators and researchers assist on this case, but I will say that there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of other people involved, conspiracies about why this became such an overblown investigation. There's differing sources on the exact timeline of events. We tried to gather all the accurate facts of the case and compile them in an easy-to-digest format for you, whilst we try our best to remain neutral. But if there is anything at all that is lost in translation, miscommunicated, or even anything additional that you would like us to know about this case, please let us know down in the comments. And a quick content warning, there is brief mention of suicide in this episode, so if that is something that might bring you to a dark place today, please just take it easy, skip this one, go watch a comfort show, and stay safe. So with that being said, let's get started. Nami had been out of prison for a while, and everything was working out relatively like she had planned. She's living in the same apartment complex as her best friend Estray that she met in prison. She's running her own business that's doing really well. And then, boom, a text message comes in ready to ruin everything for Nami. An unknown profile on Telegram messages her. The user's name is Nenenting. Nami has never heard of this username. She has no idea who this is. This person isn't even in her contacts. It's a total stranger. She goes to open the message, and it reads, "The stuff on your photo albums." What is this person even talking about? So she texts back, "What about my photo albums?" A lot of good celebrity photos, enough to make the nation flip shit, huh? Whoever this person was, they knew exactly what kind of line of work that Nami was in. So she quickly texts back, unfazed, "My goodness, I didn't know we were still living in the past era. I'm feeling under the weather, so I'm just gonna head to sleep now." What an odd exchange. Like, who the hell is this person? Nami's trying so hard to play it cool, but it is bothering her. She immediately screenshots all of the text messages and sends them to her best friend, SJ. And the both of them, they go into detective mode. They're trying to investigate. But this is an account from Telegram, which is anonymous. They have nothing to go off of, but maybe the blackmailer's username, texting cadence, any hints in the messages themselves, which are basically none. They barely exchanged messages so far. So let's start with the name. Nenenting. SJ, the friend, immediately screenshots something and sends it to Nami. It's a package of instant noodles. Bibimbap, which is like a cold, spicy stir-fried noodle, but the brand calls that noodle Nenenting. It's a household brand in South Korea.
So this is just a food brand?
Yeah, so I guess it would be the same as someone's username being SpaghettiOs. It's a brand by Chef Boyardee. Like, that's the name of their product.
Yeah.
But it's technically, I don't know if you would call it spaghetti, but you get the idea. It's very brand specific. So SJ sends Nami a screenshot of the noodle packaging, and she says, "Nami, young people these days call bibimbap by the brand's name instead, Nenenting. Do you think this person messaging you is..." And Nami's like, "I know exactly who it is. Precisely. It's Chongdan." So this case is actually has a lot of very random, bizarre people involved. One of them being Tong Ta-eun. That's their name, Ta-eun. Ta-eun is kind of famous. They're an Eulljang contestant winner. Eulljang is literally translates to best face. Like, Eul is 얼굴, face, Eul. And then Jang is like the best. So they would have these reality shows, contestant shows, contest shows, where they would bring in the best faces from the nation and just basically whoever has the ideal face wins the contest.
Like a beauty contest?
Yes, but it's very face specific. It's not personality. You don't really like answer questions. You don't do the bikini shows. It's all about your face.
Is it like a really prestige title, or is it more like a TV? Oh, it's like a real award.
Well, I wouldn't say it's like Miss America, but it is it's a high compliment to be called an Eulljang. But it's not really something that you have to win through that competition. You could call anyone on the internet an Eulljang.
It's a compliment.
Yes, and they have a very specific look. It's like that perfect face look. Like, I would say maybe Karina from aespa is the best comparison. Like, that is the it look. And Taeun got famous for having a good face. And eventually, using that fame, Taeun would start working in the music industry. But probably what they're the most known for is dating Han Seo-hee. She's going to become very important in this. She is probably one of the most controversial K-pop trainees to ever exist. She's been involved in almost every major K-pop idol scandal. The two of them briefly dated, then had a very public and messy breakup where they both accused each other of being physically violent and abusive. So, side note about Han Seo-hee, she was involved in Big Bang Top's week scandal that happened in like 2011. So she's just kind of involved in all the drama.
Okay.
Any drama, she's in there somehow. Now, after this breakup between Han Seo-hee, she's gonna get a question later, and Chung Da-eun, they all run in the same circle still. So they all hang out with the same people even after they broke up.
Okay.
And they hang out with Nami and SJ. Ta-eun also has a criminal history stemming from selling drugs on Telegram. And this is where the dots start connecting some more. Ta-eun's Telegram username used to be Dappaghetti, which is a brand of black bean noodle. So black bean noodle is the dish. But Dappaghetti is a very specific noodle brand's version of that dish, and they call it Dappaghetti. It's not even black bean noodles, it's the brand's name for it, just as how Nenenting is not spicy cold noodles. It's the brand's name for it.
So that's how she made a connection, because
Yes.
she always uses brand's name as her name.
And Talon is younger than them, in early 20s, so they're like, okay, young people call PB면 nenentim, which older people don't really do that. They also really like to use these brand names for food as their username. And on top of that, the two girls remember that Talon also had a bit of coding experience. So to them, everything is clicking, everything is making sense. Talon did this. Talon hacked into Nami's photo album and got all the pictures of the celebrities and is now blackmailing her because Talon is the blackmailer. Whoever the spicy cold noodles were though, they're just getting started. They text Nami some more. You've been ignoring my text? When I see that you clearly read it, I'll go straight to the celebrities instead then. Get ready to get f***ed. Another text. Make $75,000 by Wednesday, and I'll add in another $8,000 for each day that you're late. I'm not going to ask for more after this. I'm not some sort of gangster. Get all the cash that I want by Wednesday and clear the fire hydrant in front of your house. Listen to me. Unless you want to ruin everything for everybody else, don't fuck up everyone else's life. Just fuck up your own. Audio files, videos, photos, I have it all. Your whole place, your whole business, it's going down. The blackmailer starts listing off a little bit of what they know, just a little taste of what's about to come. And this has been redacted from the reports. Redacted, abuse of power. Redacted, drug trafficking. Redacted, drugs. Each one of those redacted names were high-powered people and or celebrities. The last one on that list was an A-list actor in South Korea, internationally acclaimed by playing the rich father from Oscar-winning film Family Man, Lee Sung-gyun. The blackmailer texted Nami, tomorrow, I'm gonna start with Lee, so be careful. If you ever see your husband has a strange charge on his card every Friday night for a bakery that you've never even been to before, and you guys are in South Korea, you might want to look into that. There are establishments called room salons, and they can fake receipts to look like bakery receipts, snack shop receipts, or other small business receipts, but in
Alibaba.com, B2B marketplace. Install and go.
México celebra. El fútbol no se detiene. Evoluciona. Más rápido, más intenso, más nuestro. Hoy todo está en tus manos. Hasta 12 millones de pesos a repartir en quinielas. 500 pesos bono gratis para nuevos usuarios. Winbot, la evolución de apostar.
But in reality, they're just hostess bars. And Nami was a madam at one of these entertainment establishments. So in Japan, they're hostess bars. In Korea, they're kind of called room salons. There's a little bit of overlap. There's a lot of similarity, but there's some differing points. They're like fancy karaoke bars in Korea with private rooms. So the sole purpose is entertaining men. They remind me, again, quite a bit of the Japanese hostess clubs in the sense that you walk in, you get escorted into a private room. Most rooms have the karaoke set up so you can sing, or you can pick hostesses to sing and spend time with you. And a big part of it is de-stressing from this corporate world while you're having someone tending to you and boosting your ego. But that part is the same. But Korean room salons have a few slight differences. Like the fact that they have most of them, have a pretty strict no phones rule in the rooms. No phones, which makes everything feel just a bit more intimate, just a bit more private. And Korean room salons, they focus heavily on exclusivity and status symbols. Some clubs, they won't even let you in. You walk in, you're like, I've got $10,000 that I want to blow right now. They're like, sorry sir, you're not a member, so you can't. And in Korea, if you ever hear something called ita and ita, this is what they're referring to. There's two tiers to room salons. Ita is when you're on the premises, when you're in the club or in the room salon. You can usually flirt, get that emotional connection. Sometimes you could probably fondle the room salon girls, depending on the room salon, right? Depending on the establishment. And then there's something called ita, which is level 2, second tier. This means that after the room salon date, you go out, usually off the premises, and you go full intimacy. These room salons, they can get really pricey. If you're going to go to a really nice, luxurious one in the center of Gangnam, you can expect to pay around $500 to $1,500 per person per night. Yeah, it's insane. You have to pay for the room fee, then the food and the drinks, then you have to tip the hostesses. And then there's different leagues of salons. There's a ranking system for the girls at these types of clubs. So you've got the Putentong style. Now this style is very overtly. Sometimes the girls who walk in, they're just wearing their undergarments. Then you have the club girls. They're a bit more clothed than just their undergarments, but it's like the next tier up. Then you get higher up, then you have the 15%. This means 15% of the top prettiest girls in room salons. They call it like a 15% club, which means you have a certain league of aesthetics in the girls there. Very attractive. They probably will not tolerate touching inside of the store. Then you have the TPs, the 10 Pro, which means 10%. 10 Pro, yeah. So girls, they look like celebrities. They're usually very educated. And if you're filthy rich, you could even sponsor one of the girls to be, like, I don't know, your girlfriend, your side girlfriend. Now, side note, it does seem like a few celebrities have been seen frequenting these room salons, and I know it's a really controversial topic, but some netizens say that there might be a reason why celebrities might like these room salons more than the average civilian. The no phones rule, that might ease some of their anxiety of always feeling like they're going to be filmed by other people when they're in establishments, that other parties, not even in the room that they're in, are filming them, like they're just trying to have fun, right? And perhaps to some of the older generations of celebrities, it's purely just habit. Apparently back then, if you wanted to land a role in a movie, you would have to shake hands with the director in a room salon. It was so prevalent that when a new up-and-coming director came out and started his own production company, he was this close to naming it NRS.
What's up?
No room salons. Because he hated it so much. He was like, this is a part of the industry that I wish would just die off. I hate it. Like, that's how strong and prevalent it was.
So it is very deep-rooted in
The celebrity culture. Like, I think it starts when you don't really have a choice. You just have to go. And the one in question today is dubbed a 1% room salon in Gangnam, meaning they only offer memberships. You cannot step in there and book a private room unless you're a member, even if you have the money, which adds to the exclusivity and the discretion of the business. Only the top 1% can afford this room salon. And it's speculated that a few hours in this type of club with 3 to 4 people in a private room, that's about $6,000 to $8,000. And because of how expensive the barrier of entry is, less people would go, and it might honestly make a great place for celebrities to feel like they're getting away. I'm not recommending it, I'm not saying that they should, but I can maybe kind of see why. The barrier for entry is so high, maybe it feels like it's more secretive and not many people are gonna out you and talk about it and post like little sneaky pictures of you online, and you can finally just have some fun. Nami runs one of those, a 1% club in Gangnam. But there's a give and take in place for room salon madams and their high-profile customers. I don't want to say clientele because that makes it sound like they're buying intimacy. Right, that's not what I'm insinuating at all, but just, you know, customers, patrons of an establishment. Discretion. You get paid to not talk about what you see. And once that trust is broken, nobody's going to want to visit Nami's business ever again. And this blackmailer is going to ruin her entire career. Even if Nami gives the blackmailer the money, who's to say that they're going to stop there? What if they keep going? What if they keep coming back for more money? It's never going to end. Ding! Another message from the Noodle Telegram account comes in. Do as I say unless you want to ruin someone else's life. I don't think you know the situation that you're in right now. If you ignore me again today, I'm going to reach out to your mom. Nami sent more screenshots of these conversations to SJ, her best friend. And SJ's just trying to warn Nami. Like, don't piss off the hackers. Don't piss off the blackmailers. Just figure out what exactly they know. Like, what in your photo albums. She texts, don't turn them all into enemies, Nami. Nami's hot-headed, though. She texts back, yeah, well, I'm not gonna give them a freaking penny. Just find out what they have on you first. Hear them out. SJ tries to comfort her best friend, Nami. I mean, even if they know you're doing drugs, they can't touch any of your celebrity friends, like Lee Sung-gyun, you know? The Parasite actor. How are they gonna touch him? Yeah, I guess that's true. But I had an idea. Should I just tell Lee Sung-gyun, Lee? Just tell him that I've been hacked and that I'm being blackmailed into giving them $500,000.
Wait, so she's about to blackmail the actor
Yeah.
while being blackmailed.
She's being blackmailed for $75,000, and she's gonna go turn around to the Parasite actor and say, hey, Lee, I need $500,000, otherwise people at the press are gonna know that we hang out. Do you want to be seen with the madam of a room salon?
That's crazy.
When you have a wife and 2 children? Is that what you want? Tsunami has this brilliant idea of playing both sides. She would lie to the blackmailer and get money from Lee. Then she would lie to Lee and say that she was going to give the money to the blackmailer, but neither of those things were going to happen. It's not even like she wants to take the 500K, give 75K to the blackmailer, and then keep the rest. She wants to keep it all. She's like, I'm just going to screw both of them, because whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. She shares her bright idea with her best friend SJ, and she texts, I'm just going to play Lee. Should I do this? No, you shouldn't. Because, Nami, if you don't give money to the blackmailer, what happens to Leopa, who actually gave you the money? And Nami just responds, oh, well, he'll just be a king R-word. Nami starts texting Lee Sung-gyun, Lee, stating that she's being blackmailed and her phone was hacked and the press is going to find out that he's basically having an affair with her, if you will. He has an actress wife that he's been with for over a decade. So much of his image in the public arena is being part of the perfect family. They're kind of the it couple. They're like a middle-aged but it couple. They're both at their prime. I mean, they share 2 beautiful children together. But now the blackmailer knows that Lee, the perfect family man, has been spending some time with Nami, the madam of a room salon, in her private residence. And for that information, Nami's like, okay, you know what? Opa, I negotiated, and I got it down from 500,000 to 250,000. So I'm gonna need 250,000. Nami starts texting Lee. Okay, Opa, I have to make a choice now. First things first, Opa, you need to live. Even if something happens to me, you have to live. That's why I'm telling you all these things about what's going on when it would be better for me if I don't tell you. I asked around and there's a lot of people who have lost everything because they didn't comply with these types of threats from blackmailers. If we ignore this person and they go to the media about this, you and me, we're all done for. Like, not saying this relationship is done for, but she's insinuating our lives, our careers are done for. Just trust me this once and comply with the demands of $250,000, and I will make sure nothing incriminating about you gets out. I'm going to turn myself in today for questioning because they're saying that they're going to go to the police about my drug reports. Do you think that they're going to run forensics on my phone? Nami continues trying to get $250,000 out of Lee. Also, those people will not come back once we give them the $250,000. They told me that they have no reason to come back and ask for more money. But right now, if I ignore them and you ignore them, I mean, it could go to the press. Then at that point, both of our lives would be over. And like, I mean, just trust me. I'm going to take care of this situation so cleanly. Just trust me. Nami tries to soften the situation by saying things like, Sai, the world really has gone crazy these days. Cry face. Don't worry too much, though. Lee texts back, okay. She texts, I'll call you later during the day. Life is so hard. Are you available to talk during the day? I'll call you later. Lee gets her the money, $250,000 in cash, but he was very clearly hesitant. You can tell from the text messages. He doesn't know if this is the route that he wants to take. So he's not like, oh yeah, take the money. We gotta make sure this never gets out. He's just kind of like confused and he doesn't understand really what's the best choice at that moment. It's alleged that Lee had to go to a close friend of his, Mr. Kim, who also knows Nami, to get a loan from him for the money. Because Lee's wife has access to their bank accounts, and if $250,000 just goes missing, I mean, it's going to be a big deal. The cash gets delivered to Nami, who promises Lee that she's going to give it to the blackmailer, who will then shut up about the whole thing, and they'll be over it. But instead, Nami takes the money and goes on the run. She stops responding to everyone. She ghosts everyone. The blackmailer, Lee, even SJ, her best friend. She ghosts them all for $250,000. And so now, the blackmailer is pissed. And the blackmailer is coming after SJ, sending messages. Nenentin is reaching out to SJ on Telegram, Nami's best friend, threatening to ruin SJ's life unless you can get your best friend Nami to come back with my money. SJ starts sending desperate messages to Nami. Where are you, Nami? This is insane. You can't do this to me. I'm never going to see you again. Don't ever talk to me ever again if this is how you're going to be. Don't even reach out. Nami finally responds. I'll call you soon. Call me before noon today. Noon comes and passes. SJ texts again. Are you calling me soon, Nami? Please help me understand, because if this is what I think it is, I will forever disappear from your life. I think the cops are trying to come to my house. I have to verify it's the cops, but I don't know. So please, Nenentin keeps contacting contacting me. If they reach out to me one more time, I'm gonna report them to the police. Don't try to get me to understand your side then. Do it now. If not, I never want to see you again. Ever. Nami finally responds. Stop contacting my friends and acquaintances asking where I am. And I'm sorry. I wronged you in all of this, okay? I'm sorry. Because now it's on SJ. Now the pressure's on SJ. Get me my money.
So she really just Nami took 250K and that's
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That's her exit?
Yeah.
What?
SJ texts her, yeah, well, don't worry. I will have no reason to ever reach out to you again. Nami says, let me just clean this up, okay? Let me clean up the mess, and then I'll reach out to you. Don't forget to eat. Like, it's like a, don't forget to, like, don't skip meals. It's a very endearing term, which is bizarre in this moment. But how is SJ just gonna wait for Nami to clean this mess up when SJ's life is on the line, too? SJ and a man by the name of Samuel walk into the Incheon Police Department with 30 pieces of black hair and a clear baggie in a very bizarre story. I'd like to report a drug crime. Samuel, the man that's accompanying SJ, tells the police that his girlfriend got a job at a room salon, and the manager there, the madam if you will, got her intentionally hooked on drugs. He said that he did absolutely everything to get her off these drugs, but she just wouldn't quit. So he suspected the madam is keeping her addicted for the purpose of the business. Because he can't convince his own girlfriend to get off the drugs, he decided to go to the source of the drugs. He goes to the madam of the business and tells her, hey, if you don't quit supplying my girlfriend with drugs, I'm going to report you to the police. She was so shocked because she just sat there and said, how much money do you want? That was not what he was after. He doesn't want money. He just wants his girlfriend to be safe. And the police are like, okay, kind of a wild story. So what is SJ doing here? SJ hands over the bag of hairs. This is Nami's best friend. She hands over screenshots of text messages. The woman that got Samuel's girlfriend hooked on drugs is my best friend, Nami. She's the madam of a very famous room salon, and she provides drugs for celebrities. SJ was so annoyed at Nami for leaving her like that. But also, SJ was so mad at Nami, mainly for not giving her her share. All SJ wanted was $75,000, but Nami got $250,000 and left. Now what? All that work creating a blackmail account? I mean, it can't go to waste, right?
SJ did it all?
SJ is the original blackmailer.
What?
Yeah, because Nami would tell her all these wild stories and send her pictures of all the celebrities that she would meet at her room salon, and now SJ's like, oh, you know what? I need some money, so I'm gonna blackmail my best friend.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
And Nami has no idea.
No. She's gonna find out, but as of right now, no. She thinks it's talent.
But they're both so fucked up too. The level of evilness just keep on going.
Yeah.
Like one crime, they follow up with another, with something even worse and worse and worse.
It's like they're willing to commit the crimes, but they're also willing to do it to the people that they're supposed to love the most and like be the closest to. It's really bizarre. They have no moral standing, and a lot of netizens argue which one is worse between the two. It's really hard to decide because it's just both so uniquely evil. It's just so bizarre. So now, after reporting Nami, SJ texts Mr. Kim. Again, this is the Parasite actor's close friend, the one that also knows Nami. And he's also the one that loaned the cash. Remember?
Oh yeah, Mr. Kim.
Yes.
So SJ contacted Mr. Kim.
Yes. Mr. Kim already gave $250,000 to Nami.
Yes.
SJ reaches out to him, trying to get more money out of him because Nami ran away. SJ basically reaches out and is like, hi, I'm the original blackmailer. Nami took the freaking money and ran, so I'm gonna need you guys to give me my cut. Pay me my money. I never got paid, so the blackmail threats are still active. But Mr. Kim just responds to Nidinthi. There's no response from our side because giving more money, I mean, it seems like this side has given up. Like, we've given up. Do you really think that we will believe that this will ever end? Even if you say this is it and that Nami took the rest of the money and ran, honestly, I don't know. We don't know what to believe. And I'm just in the middle trying to keep this under wraps. I even sent my own money too. Jeez, I mean, I think the best way to resolve all of this is if we all meet up together, sign some sort of contract. Otherwise, no deal with more money. So he's like, we need to get together and sign some documents if you want any cash at all. Like a document saying that you will never bring this up, like you are bound by, I don't know, an NDA or something, because this is just crazy. You can't just keep asking us for more money. Mr. Kim goes, or we can just go the legal route because this is extortion. Honestly, I don't get any of this. Even with that amount of money, 250K, Nami will last maybe 5 years. So why are we even doing stuff like this right now? But SJ is very desperate. She keeps messaging him, almost pitching herself like she's on Shark Tank. Sir, let's do the original agreed upon deal of $75,000. I really need the money, and you can see if I will ever threaten you guys ever again, I will disappear with the money. I will stop looking for Nami. If this ever gets out to the world, I will take full responsibility for it because there's really no need for that to get everybody involved. I just really need the money tomorrow, right away.
Wait, is she telling them that she was the original blackmailer?
Yeah, but she's not saying she's SJ. She's messaging them through the Google account.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Now the messages are written really polite. It's actually kind of odd. She's blackmailing them, but it sounds more like she's a distant relative asking for a loan. But when Mr. Kim doesn't budge and give her what she wants, she fully lashes out. She texts, first of all, I didn't know Nami was going to take the money and run. I didn't know that she was going to eat all the money and explode. So, like, is that really my fault? Mr. Kim says, regardless, I'll have to pass on this deal. Okay, fine. Then I'll continue bothering people around you guys. Besides, today, I will give you a deal. Remember how I was asking for $150,000? Today, let's make it $40,000. How about that? You should probably take the deal with this kind of cut. Try standing in my shoes for once, sir. Mr. Kim makes a deal, and the blackmailer tells him that he will send an assistant to grab the money. That assistant is SJ. Yeah. So she texts him on her little noodle account, I'm going to send my assistant to grab the cash from you in the parking lot. And guess who shows up? SJ.
What?
So Mr. Kim is like, oh, that's probably just the assistant for the blackmailer.
Oh, he doesn't know it's Jay.
No. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Ultimately, SJ gets $40,000 in cash in the parking lot of a grilled eel restaurant in Gangnam. And just to recap, SJ is the original noodle blackmailer. She was texting Nami about the blackmail threats, like she has no idea what's going on. So she's Nami's blackmailer and her best friend giving her advice on what to do with the blackmailer.
Yeah.
That's why she's saying, like, no, don't play Lee. Like, don't do that. Don't run off with the money. Don't make enemies. Just see what they want.
Wow.
She ends up getting $40,000 from Lee. Nami, the madam of the business, ends up getting blackmailed, but plays Lee and runs off with $250,000. And it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to be issued a passport. Nami was a few days in when she was caught by the police. Police have records that she applied for a passport and a visa, planning to flee the country. But flower snakes are known not to travel that fast. That's what people call Nami, a flower snake. A gulpen, that's what we call them. Okay, so a flower snake is the Korean version of a gold digger, but it's actually a lot more scathing than a gold digger. Gold digger is like, okay, I don't know how offended I'd be if I was called a gold digger, but a flower snake, it's such a ruthless term. It's a woman who waits in the gardens like a little snake near all of the beautiful flowers, just waiting for someone close to come by. They slither towards their next victim, seduce them, and then ask them for money in return for their silence. So it's not even someone that wants to date someone with money. It's more so, I'm gonna literally sleep with that person. Someone that I know shouldn't be sleeping with me, whether it's a married man, a company executive, someone that would be in trouble if the world found out that they slept with me. And immediately afterwards, I'm gonna ask them for money in return for my silence.
I see.
It's like blackmailing. They're literally blackmailers. I used to think that having dogs in the house would help me sleep better at night. That was before I realized that my dog, Tiger, or at least one of them, does not have a survival instinct bone in his body. A burglar could be knocking on my windows and Tiger would not bat an eye. He would literally think, if intruder, why not intruder shake? I mean, I adore both of my dogs. I would never trade them for the world. But I also want my home to be safe for my family, including my dogs who are clearly not bred for survival. That is why my home is equipped with Simply Safe Home Security. It's an advanced system that protects every inch of your home. It has everything that you would need and more. HD cameras for indoors and outdoors, advanced motion sensors and entry sensors to protect doors, windows, and rooms. And when we think of home security, we forget that natural disasters can also endanger our homes. That's why Simply Safe also has sensors that detect fire, flooding, and more. Something as innocent as leaving a jacket way too close to the heater can end up having devastating consequences. I used to have anxiety about, did I forget to turn the stove off? I get anxiety about leaving my iron on, and I don't even iron my clothes. The peace of mind that you get from knowing your home is protected is priceless. But with Simply Safe, you don't have to break the bank. For less than $1 a day, you can get 24/7 professional monitoring. If your home is threatened, trained agents will dispatch emergency services ASAP. I trust Simply Safe because people who know a lot more than me about home security also trust Simply Safe. It was named Best Home Security Systems of 2024 by the U.S. News and World Report. Simply Safe is incredibly easy to install, but if you don't have the time, Simply Safe will dispatch one of their experts to do it for you. And even if you're unsatisfied with Simply Safe, they'll give you a full refund within 60 days of purchasing. Simply Safe even covers return shipping. There is really nothing to lose. There are no risks with Simply Safe. Order now to get 20% off any new Simply Safe system with Fast Protect monitoring. Don't wait. Visit simplysafe.com/rotten. That's simplysafe.com/rotten. There's no safe like Simply Safe. October 18th, 2023, the day after SJ reported her, Nami was arrested for suspicion of drug use in her room salon. She was under suspicion of using phylofarm, which it's known as Satan's phlegm, or Satan's mucus in South Korea. It's crystal meth. Side note, this very specific kind was created in Japan during World War II to give soldiers, to make them more stimulated during the war so that they could fight harder and longer. So there's that. It's become a huge recreational drug issue in East Asia now. So Nami was arrested, brought in to be questioned. She's drug tested. It comes back positive for psychotropic substances. But that's a huge range. I'm just going to be honest with you. That could include caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, and even certain pain meds, but also heroin, cocaine, and crystal meth. So there's that. At this point, the police have testimonies from 2 people that Nami is not only doing drugs, but selling drugs. So from SJ and Samuel. They're like, yeah, she's selling drugs, she's doing drugs. And South Korea is a country that's super strict on drugs. So Nami is a slam dunk case, right, for the police? But nothing is impressive about catching a flower snake. You don't get a pat on the back for catching a flower snake. You don't get an award. You don't get a promotion for catching a flower snake, especially if that flower snake has 6 prior drug convictions. What's so great about the 7th drug conviction? If anything, it's almost insulting. A 7th time, really? You couldn't catch her again, like the 7th time? The police didn't want a flower snake. They wanted to take down a napping alligator in the grass. And the only thing is, you're more likely to be killed from a snake than an alligator, statistically. October 19th, 2023, just 3 hours after Nami's very first interrogation finishes, an exclusive article is published online about an unnamed, gigantic A-list actor going by the name of Mr. L that is now part of a huge drug investigation. It's very cryptic. I mean, so cryptic to the point of being uninteresting. Even if we can guess Mr. L stands for Mr. Lee, it could be Mr. Lim, it could even be Mr. Park. Who's to say that the L is the first letter of the actor's surname? That's still a huge population of people to go through. The last name Lee in South Korea is the 2nd most popular after Kim. About 15% of the population share the last name Lee. So who's gonna know who this actor is? But very quickly, almost suspiciously quickly, rumors start spreading online that it's Lee Sung-gyun. Everyone's confused. How would anyone know that it's him, especially given the circumstances? Lee Sung-gyun is not even someone that the general public would assume would do drugs. He's 48, he's got a wife, respected actress and a wife, 2 children. He doesn't really fit this young club scene. The man just golfs. When he goes on to variety shows, reality shows, all he talks about is his love for his kids and golf. Like, he's obsessed with golf. The reporter would eventually come out to state that the police gave them the name. Just expose the fact that Lee was involved in an open drug investigation. And the media ran with it. They dropped article after article after article that Lee was accused of cheating on his wife at a room salon and taking drugs with the girls there. And everybody lost their freaking minds. They went genuinely crazy. Truly, the press, they're having a field day. They're calling this the mini Burning Sun scandal, because it had 2 of the biggest names in the Korean entertainment industry attached to it. Parasite actor Lee Sung-gyun and G-Dragon of Big Bang. Originally, G-Dragon would be the bigger focus of the media. People were going in and overanalyzing every single video of G-Dragon. They were looking for any strange body movements, unfocused eyes, slurred speech, anything that could indicate that he was a drug user. People were saying, oh, well, Top from Big Bang was busted for usage. Suddenly, from Burning Sun, right? And then now G-Dragon, we knew it all along. There's a video of G-Dragon at the airport taken by paparazzi that became one of the trending videos associated with this case. It shows him walking through the airport while paparazzi follow him around taking pictures and videos. And he can't see his face still. He's touching his face, he's touching his hair, readjusting his clothing. He's stretching, which, side note, I saw the video and I do think that he strikes me as maybe a little bit more active with his movements than I would normally expect walking through the airport, but there's so much context to this. First of all, we don't know if he has any sort of health condition that could lead to something like that, but also, even if he doesn't, he's a celebrity in South Korea. His every move, his every look, facial expression, breath is going to get analyzed and dissected regardless of a drug scandal or not. And as he's walking through the airport with paparazzi, like, it's just so awkward. Nobody's really talking to him. They're just like following him around. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I would maybe move around and fidget and try to, I would feel insecure. I would constantly fix my hair. Maybe I have a scratch and then I would try to adjust my clothing because they're taking pictures and I know these pictures are going to be front page somewhere. Right? I mean, I can't imagine that's a pleasant, non-anxious, inducing, soothing experience. But the comments started getting flooded after G-Dragon was revealed to be part of the room salon drug investigation. They were ruthless. Netizens wrote, haha, so it's true. They say addicts pretend to stretch because they can't keep their bodies still. I'd be more surprised if he wasn't on drugs. This guy's a drug addict. Look at him shaking like a dog. Let's pretend we're all surprised, you guys. He really paved the way for criminals. He's king of the drugs. He really looks like the type to do crime anyway. G-Dragon came out with a statement and basically begged the police to test him. He stated to the public that he would be voluntarily submitting his own urine, hair, fingernail, and toenail samples to be tested for drug usage. This was kind of a pivotal moment in the Korean entertainment industry. A lot of netizens have stated this is going to change probably society's perception of these investigations. Because G-Dragon shows up at the police station with press waiting for him outside the station. This is his very first interrogation. Voluntary. He's going to submit all of his samples. They're just, the press, they're foaming at the mouth to get him to do something, say something, get arrested, anything. G-Dragon shows up in a full suit, black glasses, and he does not bow to the press, which is a huge thing for Korean celebrities. If you do not bow to the press, that means you think that you're God or something. How dare you? These are the people that made you famous. This was significant. This was him showing the press that he was not going to get bullied by them. He does not bow, and before he goes in to be questioned by the police, G-Dragon answers a few questions from the press. They ask, why are you making a voluntary appearance for police questioning? He looks at them, and he does this between every single question. He looks at them like they're not even the same species. He looks at them like they're insane. They're unhinged. Like, why did you just ask me that? He says, I'll know when I get inside. Do you admit to charges that you've used drugs? I have not committed any crime regarding drugs. I'm appearing for questioning to clarify all allegations made. It's best to answer any questions authorities may have as quickly as possible, so I should probably not prolong these conversations right now. You've rejected the charges against you. Does that mean you think the investigation by the police is unfounded? Even the press question here is so bizarre. It's like they want him to badmouth the police outside the police station and put himself in a situation where the police are going to want to ruin his life even more. G-Dragon looks more bored than anything, and he just states, everything will come to light in due course. Then the press start hinting at the idea that G-Dragon dyed his hair to throw off the hair drug test results. When did you dye your hair? Do you have hair loss problems? I did not do anything like that. Did you ever frequent the entertainment establishment that's been mentioned? We'll have to see about that. Do you know the establishment's manager or the doctor who's been accused of providing the drugs? No. Can I go now? And do you want to say something to your fans? Which, this is the absolute worst time to bring something like this up. I mean, it's just kind of gross. What do you want him to say? He wants to prove that he's not guilty by going in there, and this is a police investigation. Like, what do you mean, do you want to say something to your fans right now? G-Dragon literally takes like a full minute to look at him like he's out of his mind, and he starts smirking, and he's just flabbergasted, and he says, don't worry too much. Can I go now? Side note, his body movements are exactly the same here as when he was at the airport. Once G-Dragon gets out of police questioning, he was in there for 4 hours. Even more press is waiting for him. He stops to answer questions, and not necessarily because he wants to, but more so as a formality. But the press ask him some very strange things. One of them asks, "You claimed innocence before you went in there. Do you still stick by that stance?" He responds, "Wouldn't it be wrong if I changed my position?" What was the result of the urine test? It came out negative. From now on, I hope the authorities will carry out an accurate and swift probe that will resolve this matter. Are you willing to accept future summons by the police to be questioned if they ask you to come? If they call me, I would have to come, no?
Bro, what kind of question is that?
Yeah.
It's almost like, just tell us you did it. It's almost
Yeah.
like that kind of tone. Like, what are you talking about?
Just tell us you'll never listen to the police and you don't want to cooperate. Like, what? He literally looks at the press like they're crazy. In today's probe, did the police show you any evidence related to the allegations raised against you? No, they didn't. I just hope no more energy is spent on unverified matters. You were questioned for 4 hours. What are the areas that the police focused on? We just laughed a lot and then we ended it. Could you please repeat that? We just laughed. You guys laughed. That was a joke. The fact that I'm being investigated on such a matter, what can I say? The police too will have to make a decision based on my testimony if my words are of help to their ongoing probe or not. What I want, if possible, is just the swift announcement of the detailed drug test lab results from my hair and fingernails. What do you expect the test results to be? Of course, it'll come out negative. Once again, I've never administered drugs or given them to anyone. A lot of people are watching. Do you have anything else you'd like to say? Yes, a lot of people are watching right now, so I would just say there's no need to worry too much. I hope they'll trust me and wait. Thank you. That's all. He does a very brief bow and heads back to his car. G-Dragon's test results will all come back negative. And he would post on Instagram, "Tepijang," which means everything will always fall back into the right pattern, almost like karma. It's used frequently in settings when someone gets accused of doing something that they didn't do. So they're being attacked, but it's almost a feeling of just wait, because the truth will settle in and everyone will realize what's been happening. G-Dragon's black glasses that he wore during the public probe, the police probe, were $1,000, limited edition, and they reportedly sold out immediately after his drug test came back negative. According to Dispatch, so take this how you will, but according to Dispatch, G-Dragon visited Nami's room salon at least twice in 2023. It was something that she would allegedly not shut up about and was non-stop bragging about it. Allegedly, she would even sneak videos of G-Dragon while he was going to use the restroom. Not in the restroom, but like when he would walk up from the room and leave to go use the restroom, she would sneak videos and send it to her friends. She would text them things like, "GD came to visit me again." But later to the police, Nami would state, every time GD went to the restroom, he would get up and use the restroom, G-Dragon would come back looking very strange. Once I was very curious as to why, so I slipped into the bathroom and I saw some very suspicious packaging there. That's why he was called in for this probe. That is so vague.
That's the end?
That's the end. That's like why he got involved in all of this.
What did she see?
Suspicious packaging. I don't know if that means
What does that mean?
like a tiny little clear plastic bag of white powder. I don't know what it means. It could be a Toblerone bar packaging. I don't know. Suspicious packaging.
Wow.
Yeah. That is so vague, and coming from someone with 6 prior convictions and affinity for blackmailing people for hundreds of thousands of dollars, someone that is proven to only be out for their own skin and would even exaggerate stories to their friends to appear a certain way, it feels completely unfounded and not credible. But the police would state that G-Dragon was a drug suspect from that statement. And just to clarify, these are just allegations that he would visit Nami. We don't know if he for sure did, and even if he did go, that's not against the law. What does that have to do with drugs? But even with all of this going on, there was still an article that was posted titled, "Hair Removal All Over the Body." The article alleged G-Dragon shaved all his body hair and bleached his head hair, to which his attorney made another statement. G-Dragon has not removed his hair at all since it was reported that he was booked. He voluntarily submitted his hair, fingernails, and toenails to prove his innocence as quickly as possible. Again, all test results came back negative. Even the National Forensic Service would confirm that G-Dragon did not dye or bleach his hair recently. But in this case, there is no such thing as innocent till proven guilty.
It really feels like a witch hunt. Like they just wanted a name to explode in the news. And
But aren't you curious as to why? January of last year, there was a huge drug bust in South Korea. It was blasted all over the news. The police found a drug trafficking ring where a group of individuals were growing, using, and selling marijuana. The police were so proud of themselves. Officers are getting promoted left and right because of that drug bust. There were talks about how advanced the police were getting at tracking drug users, how competent they were becoming. But there's actually a secret behind this brilliant police bust. The police received a tip. That's it. So simple, right? So at first, the tip was from a woman who was begging the police for help to avoid her violent boyfriend. She told authorities that she overheard the boyfriend's plans to sell her into sex trafficking. The police are like, yeah, well, we don't really have time for that. First of all, he's your boyfriend. Second of all, you haven't been sold, have you? And third of all, we don't have proof that that's what he genuinely wants to do. I mean, if you don't like the idea, then just break up with him. Clearly, she couldn't do that, but they genuinely just could not care less. So the woman got smart, and the next time she called, she reported her boyfriend for dealing drugs. Suddenly, the police are all ears. They're like, this is deplorable. We gotta do something about this. They're very interested in helping her, in saving her from the big, bad, scary drug-dealing boyfriend. They tell her to get a pen and paper and write down the list of things they want from her. Location of marijuana growing, location of purchasing of marijuana, location of purchasing methamphetamines, purchasing of methamphetamines from who, question mark? Eyewitness testimony. So to who and at which locations, question mark? Not only were they just investigating a drug bust rather than her whole situation with the boyfriend, they wanted her to do the job for them. Do all the investigating. They're like, bring all that to us, and then we'll look into it. Ooh, so exciting. Whenever she brought up the sex crimes, they just said, well, when you catch the dog, everything comes together. Like, let's just catch him and then, you know. She put her life in danger to give the police all the evidence they wanted. But even then, they waited a full month to arrest her boyfriend. She was terrified for that full month, just waiting for him to be taken in so that she wouldn't be caught snitching on him. Eventually, her boyfriend gets arrested. Their front page pieces of the police's stellar jobs on the drug bust, shining new promotions are handed down to the officers. But they're not even done. Some of the officers would bring the girl back in, asking her, did you sleep with any celebrities? Because he was trying to, like, sell you this trafficking. So, like, did you sleep with any celebrities? They just wanted a celebrity attached to it. Because it would make it even bigger. And it all comes down to war. Violence against women is nothing. Violence against children is nothing. Police don't get a cookie for that, but they do get a cookie for winning the battles in this war against drugs. President Yoon waged war on drugs and told the police, at some point, drugs are not only devastating the health and spirit of the people of South Korea, but also destroying the dreams and hopes of the youth due to the neglect from government authorities. The government will join all forces to win the war on drugs that has eaten away our entire country.
this is the current president.
Yeah. He's, like, really controversial, by the way. Now, side note, I don't think South Korea's drug usage is that bad compared to a lot of the other countries. Because of their geographical locations, it's actually very hard to smuggle drugs into South Korea. They're strictly a drug ban country, meaning consuming any drugs without a legitimate medical reason is illegal. Even if you're a Korean citizen, you go to California, where weed is legal. You smoke weed, you come back to Incheon Airport, they can drug test you for weed. If it's proven that you smoked weed in California, where it's legal, but you're a Korean citizen, you're gonna get arrested. You're gonna face prison time as if you smoked weed in South Korea. So to incentivize the, quote, war on drugs, President Yoon's administration stated that they would prepare large-scale rewards, including special promotions for those who show achievements in excellent cases against drugs. To simplify, the police are almost dangerously incentivized to focus on drug charges, and that's it. And they know that any big drug scandal or news will be heavily watched, heavily monitored, not just by their boss, but their boss's 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 boss, the one that has the ability to give you a life-changing promotion with a giant payday. It will be watched by the president of South Korea. There's a speculation that the police felt a lot of pressure now. They bit down on the cake way too early, and now everyone in the nation is staring at them with icing all over their face, and it's too late to back out now. It's way too embarrassing.
We were talking about G-Dragon was
Yeah.
name is clear. Now they're like, what do we do now?
Yeah, like, this is embarrassing. Like, we look stupid. And the way that G-Dragon handled the press conferences, it's like, he's basically showing the cops that they're stupid.
And also, just for context, for anyone who doesn't follow K-pop, G-Dragon is probably one of the biggest names in the K-pop industry.
Yeah, he was one of people
like
call him
Gen
the
2,
OG.
right?
Yeah, Gen 2.
So it's like the OG, still one of the biggest names in the country. So, like, his name associated with this, frontline news, like, it's crazy.
Now, their investigation relied heavily on testimony and there was zero evidence to back it up. So what happened to G-Dragon was humiliating for the police. So it's likely that they wanted to make sure that Lee doesn't get away. In Nami's 17 interrogations, so Nami, the madam, would be interrogated 17 times by the police. Lee's name was mentioned 260 times. Nami would state confidently that Lee did drugs in her house. How did he administer the drugs? Oh, I have a silver pipe in my house for smoking weed. When the police searched her house, they can't find the pipe anywhere. But it doesn't matter because as long as Nami is saying it happened, the police believe it happened. According to Nami, based off of no proof, no evidence, Lee would come over to her house, smoke marijuana, and take ketamine. And take all these other drugs, like hard drugs. When it got to the point where Nami's third interrogation by the police, she couldn't even pinpoint exactly when Lee did the drugs, allegedly. So the police start helping her, allegedly. If Nami would list a date that didn't make sense, the police would say something along the lines of, well, on that day, that wouldn't have worked because he had a so-and-so appearance, like he was doing a press tour, so that couldn't have been then. It's most likely more so around these dates, right? Or another time they told Nami, well, Lee was on a business trip to the U.S. from August 29th to September 7th. So tell us about the date that you guys did drugs between August 19th and August 29th. If I didn't know any better, I would think they're feeding her these dates. Ultimately, Nami was unable to provide the police with a set time, date, or location of Lee doing drugs. It's like they just happened in a void. How can you be a witness testimony when you don't remember the location, time, or date where anything happened?
It's not evidence, right?
Yeah, that's, even if you remember, that's circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's just like, you could say whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah, you had a dream.
Yeah. No matter how hard I try to be more health conscious, it just always feels very overwhelming. Between all the different podcasts and books and all these other sources, there is so much conflicting information. And the worst part is, I feel like there's always a diet or a workout challenge that's trending on the internet that just derails my progress even further. Because I am the type of person that will buy a $20 smoothie if the internet tells me that it's healthy. I've even tried workout challenges on my vlog channel before, but at the end of the day, if you're trying all these different diets and doing hours of cardio and you're not making progress towards your health goals, then you need to try something different. Because there is a better, more sustainable way to reach your health goals with the Road Body program. Road Body members have access to professional support throughout their entire weight loss journey. Medical experts will help you create a sustainable diet and exercise program. If eligible for medication, patients can get access to the most popular weight loss shots on the market to help reach your goals faster and easier. Medication costs are separate, but Rose Partners will handle your insurance paperwork to try and help get your medication covered. And if you're eligible for medication, you will have access to a provider on demand for any questions that you might have. And you can sign up for the program from the comfort of your own home. The numbers don't lie in this case. Over 200,000 people have already chosen Road to help them lose weight. With Road, the average weight loss is 15 to 20% in 1 year with healthy lifestyle changes. And the best part is, all their members manage to keep the weight off. BMI and other eligibility criteria apply. Go to road.co/Rockland. Sign up today and you'll pay just $99 for your first month and $145 a month after that. Medication costs are separate. That's ro.co/Rockland. October 24th, 2023, the police stated that Lee was under suspicion of inhaling and administering marijuana and other types of drugs several times. They released this to the public. So what are the public thinking? They're not thinking, oh, I bet Nami doesn't even know a set time, location, and date where this happened. They're thinking, oh, they got some stuff against him.
Yeah, because the police released that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not going to bring him in for questioning. This is all before they even talk to Lee and get his side of the story. They announced this, and they state that their plan is to secure the cell phone data and conduct forensic work before they actually summon Lee for an interrogation. Apparently when you cancel someone in Korea, they call it narak. It almost translates to sending someone to hell, like sending them off. It's like they're standing on the edge of a cliff, and it's just the black abyss, and then someone just pushes them. You're just sending them off. Lee's agency, Hoku and New Entertainment, released a statement soon after the news broke. They stated, and this has been edited for length, "First, we would like to deeply apologize for causing any concern through the reports about Lee Sung-gyun. We are currently verifying the exact facts regarding the allegations raised against the actor Lee. We intend to faithfully participate in many future investigations, including submitting cell phones for analysis. We have not yet been contacted by the police. However, actor Lee has received continuous blackmail threats from an unnamed woman, Miss A, a person related to the incident. Lee has filed a complaint with the investigative agency. We will inform you of future progress in this regard through our legal representative. We ask for your generous understanding." He and his agency do respond rather quickly. They even state that Lee is being blackmailed by someone involved in all of this. The general public did not care. The statement just wasn't good enough. People compared Lee's statement to G-Dragon's, and they just fully ripped it to shreds. They did not like the fact that Lee's agency did not comment directly that Lee never took the drugs and that he never went to the room salons. The public felt like a non-denial was basically admittance that he did all those things. Some comments at the time read, "So who threatened you into taking drugs? Who asked you to provide an excuse to blackmail you? What kind of joke is that? You irresponsibly say, 'Oh, I want to enjoy the pleasure of the moment,' and now you regret it?" Another comment reads, "This statement is the worst. I use drugs, now I'm being threatened. Are you really that pitiful?" Another one is just, "The end of a messy life, huh?" To make matters worse, two very well-known names in the drug world in South Korea were linked to this case. Hwang Hana, who has been in prison like 3 times prior to this for drug usage. Hannah's a Nepo baby. Her grandfather founded Namyang Dairy Company, which is the country's 3rd largest dairy company that specializes in like Yakult, the probiotic yogurt drinks. Hannah's dad is allegedly worth at least over $300 million. Hannah's a very interesting character. Her whole family is. Her family was in hot water when the dairy company made claims that their yogurt could prevent COVID.
Yeah, we talked about her before, right?
Yeah.
The dairy princess.
And her fiance mysteriously passed.
Oh, right.
Yes, she was involved in a very mysterious death. And, there's just a lot going on. But Hannah is notorious for getting caught with drugs, going to prison, coming out, and then being like, "I'm never going to do it again," and then getting caught with drugs. And I would say that, as of today, any association with Hannah probably isn't the best luck. And Han So-hee was also interrogated. Han So-hee was associated with multiple K-pop idol drug scandals. Like I said, most notably Top from Big Bang. She was also involved in YG, the BYG of YG's trial. I mean, there's a lot going on. She's basically known by netizens as the villain of the K-pop world. That's how people describe her. And just like Hannah, any association with Han So-hee, typically not great. Netizens were commenting, "There's a saying, birds of a feather flock together." Another one reads, "They live a careless life. The same kind of people hang out with one another." Now the public is spinning together this story of how they're all connected and creating some sort of friendly drug ring together. Lee's lawyer came out to say the 3rd-generation Taebol and the aspiring entertainer are known to be subject to an internal investigation with Lee, but Lee does not know them, and the suspicion that Lee hung out with them at an entertainment establishment and took drugs is not true. We cannot reveal more at this time, but we will talk with the investigative agency about the allegations and cooperate well with the investigation. But nobody cared. Netizens commented on the case. His image has gone down the drain. I'm just often thinking about how much he tried to cover up his image so far. With this, Lee had to drop out of a TV series that he was working on called No Way Out, which there's a lot going on here, but the series name is No Way Out, and in it, a really scary criminal is freed. Lee plays a police officer that has to protect citizens from the criminal, but also keep the criminal safe from the bounty hunters that are after him. A lot of netizens saw the irony, they said, and demanded Lee be taken off the project because they could not see him as a police officer. Some netizens commented, "In the future, when producing large-scale movies, the main character should undergo drug tests before proceeding. If you're honest, there's no reason you should say no to a drug test. But if you're not, and you can't get tested, you should become a drug suspect for the police." Because of Lee's case, investors are losing millions. There are even conversations about banning celebrities from being on air if they ever have a drug scandal or investigation. Meaning any show or movie that they previously worked on would not be able to air during their scandal, or perhaps even after. They would be banned from ever coming back to their careers. Which the logic of that is insane. People who commit acts of violence or other crimes while under the influence is another thing. But people who are just caught using drugs, I've never met someone who is dependent on drugs that wasn't hurting a lot inside. So, great idea. Let's just make sure that these people don't have jobs to come back to. That's perfect, because that should really teach them a lesson to not do drugs. Meanwhile, Cho Do-soon can open up a coffee shop in the mountains if he wants to and live next to playgrounds and be in the same town as his victim.
That's insane.
Like, make it make sense. October 28th, 2023, Lee goes in for his first interrogation. When he leaves the police station, the press and the public are waiting for him. As he addresses the media, he gives them a deep bow as a show of a deep apology, and he bursts into tears. And he apologizes for causing such an inconvenience for everyone, but he does deny taking any drugs. He apologizes to his family and says, "I apologize to them as they are suffering and going through very hard times." He continues, "And above all, I would like to bow down once again to everyone who has trusted and supported me so far."
소속 수련을 통해서 전달했듯이 진실한 자세로 성실하게 수사에 임하겠다는 입장은 변함이 없습니다. 그리고 지금 이 순간 너무 힘든 고통을 감내하고 있는 가족들에게 미안한 마음입니다.
After his first interrogation, Lee's urine test came back negative for drugs. The police would call in Lee to do another drug test. This time, instead of a urine test, they wanted to take 100 strands of his hair. They tested every section of every strand of the 100 hairs, and the results came back negative. It's a very thorough test. It stated that Lee did not use drugs for approximately 8 to 10 months. This is in like October, November. Remember the timeline? The police were like, August, right? You guys did drugs in August. It would most definitely show up in his hair test.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you could argue maybe he did drugs 11 months ago, 2 years ago, but that's not evidence. He took the test in November, and just going off Nami's testimony, she stated they did drugs in August. It would have absolutely shown up on the drug test.
Yeah, so she's lying.
Yes.
So this should be,
Over.
yeah,
And the police, honestly, I feel like they could come out and say, she lied.
and we fucked up.
Yeah, so let's move on. My apologies. Let's move it, keep it moving. The authorities wanted more drug tests from Lee. They took his leg hair and his armpit hair to be tested. His leg hair came back untestable, which it just means that a lot of Asians don't have really thick hair follicles on their legs. So there's not a lot to test for the drugs. It's just too thin of hair. But the way that it was worded in the press made it seem like, ooh, the results are iffy. Like they couldn't determine. It was less of like, oh yeah, it's, because his hair wasn't enough. Or some people ran with it and said, maybe he like thinned out the hair on his legs. Maybe he shaved his legs. His armpit hair was thick enough and the results would come back negative. The same day, Lee's test results all came back negative, and the results would be publicized to the public. I mean, this is a huge day. This is the day that he's been waiting for, because he's proved himself. He's innocent. He can look the public in the eye. He can be just like G-Dragon and take his career back. I mean, he's traumatized. There's going to be so many emotional scars. He will never get back this type of everything that's happened to him, but he can get his life back together. But none of the media outlets really reported on the negative drug test. The press up until this point had been so all over this case that if Lee so much as breathed, there'd be like 100 new articles on it. Suddenly, they're not intrigued by the negative drug test results. They're too busy talking about his newly leaked phone conversation. The same day his hair test results came back negative, the press did not report on it. They were writing about a KBS released phone call, a leaked call, of a recording of Lee and the Madam of the Room salon, Nami, where Lee can be heard telling her, "I like you a lot too, you know that, right?" And she responds, "I don't know, since you never expressed it." His negative drug results were made public, but who cares about drugs when you have an A-list married actor confessing his love to a mistress who runs a salacious establishment? And you have the audio to go along with it. Side note, where do you think KBS got that audio? Just wondering, I don't know. Well, like, who would have that audio? Nami would have that audio. Who's working with the police? I'm just saying.
Oh, you're saying police leaked it?
A lot of netizens believe that police were involved in leaking a lot of information for this case. Like how they leaked Lee's name in the beginning of this so that they could get a lot of publicity and that they could make this a big blown thing and get pats on the back once they solved it. And now, once the drug tests come back negative, maybe it's time to divert attention, allegedly. This is speculation online. Everyone went crazy because you have to remember that Lee's wife is also a famous person. They brought up old interviews of his wife talking about how she put her career on the back burner so that he could go full force into his dreams. She said, "You go out and drink and do what you will." She's like talking about her husband in an interview. "But I have to focus on the family, to the point where sometimes I even forget my name." And this is on a show called Healing Camp, where a lot of celebrities will come and they just try to be as vulnerable as possible. So this is not her going on an interview and be like, "My husband."
Un griego muy canónico es un griego que le gusta a toda tu familia. Hermoso y nutritivo para que tus hijos quieran repetir. Prueba un griego muy canónico.
Cuando Conor McGregor pelea, estás presenciando algo único en la vida. McGregor vs. Holloway, sábado 11 de julio, solo en Paramount Plus.
Like they're just trying to really dig deep and have these hard conversations with each other on this show. She said, "Sometimes I even forget my own name. I forget that I too was an actress. That's why sometimes I think of my husband as my third son." Other times she joked that she had 4 sons. She has her husband Lee, their actual 2 sons, and their boy dog. Netizens' comments were flooded with, "Isn't he embarrassed for his children? What was he thinking doing drugs with a woman at an adult establishment when he had his family and his career?" Others hated the fact that his wife had ran for Miss Korea and she was extremely well respected in the theater world and incredibly skilled in her profession. She was a dedicated wife and mother, yet he still cheated. A lot of people pointed out the fact that his wife was slowly starting to get more involved in her career now that her kids were getting older. They called it her second golden age. She's always been active, but more so now. But now with Lee's scandal, she's losing brand ambassadorships. People don't want to work with her, even for casting. People are so hesitant to work with her, even though she's not suspected of doing anything, because it's just a lot of baggage that's going to be attached to the show now. All the press is going to be about, like, "Oh, she's starring in it. What's her husband doing?" They also lost a lot of brand deals together because people really liked them as a family unit. So one of their biggest brand deals was with SK Telecom and to promote a kid-friendly educational service on TV. They were quickly dropped. The controversy got so intense the police sent both of their sons to the US to get away from the media attention. News reports started coming out that Lee was part of the top 1% of VIPs at a room salon. But in reality, he was allegedly just a guest at a room salon club dubbed as a 1% club. So like it's like a play on words, like, "Oh, he's top 1%. Almost indicating he's there all the time. What is he doing there all the time?" And again, I have nothing to say about the timing of all of this, but if I did have something to say, I would probably say there are no such things as coincidences. G-Dragon was accused of
Whoops.
he was paraded around in the media, dragged through the mud. He almost lost his career. At one point, he was facing over $38 million in penalty fees for breaking brand ambassadorship deals because of this scandal. His life was about to be over. The police were basically barking to the whole nation that G-Dragon was the bad guy and they're going to get him. Then all of his drug tests come back negative. The public start to question if maybe the investigation had been excessive. The police feel like they've been caught with their fists in their mouths, so now with Lee, they're even more desperate. They have to do something to redeem their image. And yet, even with all these negative drug tests, Lee was called in for his 3rd police questioning. And each time, it was a press circus. Each time, he had to stand in front of all these journalists that were actively digging up every single bad thing that he did from his past and twisting it in just really gross ways. He would have to apologize for something that he wasn't even proven guilty of doing yet. And December 23rd, 2023, so a few months ago, Lee walked into the police station for his 3rd questioning. He would not walk back out for 19 hours. He walked in at 10 a.m. and would not walk out until 5 a.m. the next day. It's snowing outside. It's freezing. He's wearing a black coat and a scarf. He bows to the press, and the first...
Golf is a truly unique game. When things are going well, it's really easy. When it's hard,
The Perpetual Arts Initiative builds on decades of Rolex's commitment to the arts. Through a rich history of supporting world-leading cultural institutions and exceptional artists.
Philip Marshall, Director of the London Library, and it's my very great pleasure to welcome you all here this evening for what is certain to be a fascinating conversation between Bernardine Evaristo and Aisha Haruna Hatta, as they reflect on their participation in the 2023 to 2024 Rolex Mentoring Programme. For those of you who don't know the London Library, we're the world's largest independent lending library. We were founded in 1841, and since then, the library has been a place of inspiration and support for readers and writers of every kind. As part of our work, we run an exciting programme for emerging writers, which helps unpublished writers take their first steps towards a literary career. And I'm delighted to see so many former participants of that programme here this evening. The Rolex Mentoring Programme offers a fantastic opportunity for us to work with an organisation so committed to helping develop literary talent. We first collaborated in 2010, when the library hosted an evening featuring the Rolex literature mentor and protégé pair at the time, the hugely respected German writer Hans Magnus Enzensberger, and his then protégé Tracy K. Smith, who has gone on to become one of the leading poets of the day. In 2017, the library hosted another Rolex mentor and protégé pair, Mia Couto, the celebrated writer from Mozambique, and his protégé, Julian Fuchs, who is now counted amongst Brazil's most important writers. We're delighted to be working in partnership with Rolex again this year. Tonight's conversation between Bernardine and Aisha will be moderated by novelist Irenison Nkoji. Irenison will shortly introduce our speakers, but first I'd like to introduce her to you. Irenison is an award-winning Nigerian-British author and journalist whose work pushes the boundaries of form, language and ideas. Formerly the Vice Chair of the Royal Society of Literature, she was awarded an MBE for services to literature in 2021. She is the director and founder of Black to the Future Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Irenison Nkoji to the stage.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'm thrilled to be moderating this conversation between two of our most outstanding writers, Bernardine Evaristo and Aisha Haruna Hatta, discussing literary mentorship and fostering a sense of community. But before we deep dive into that, some context from Rolex. For more than half a century, Rolex has partnered with some of the world's most talented artists and leading cultural institutions to celebrate excellence and contribute to perpetuating artistic heritage, creating a link between the past, present, and future. Just a little break in my Kindle there. Through the Rolex Perpetual Arts Initiative, a broad portfolio of arts that extends through architecture, cinema, dance, literature, music, theatre and visual arts, the company confirms its long-term commitment to global culture. In all of these endeavours, Rolex supports artistic excellence and the transmission of knowledge to future generations, who in turn pass on the world's cultural legacy. It is this belief in the transmission of knowledge that has brought us here today. Before Bernardine and Aisha, it was Toni Morrison and Julia Lee, Tahar Benjamin and Eden Amouni, Margaret Atwood and Naomi Alderman, amongst many others. Each exchanged ideas, cultures, inspiration and guidance, propelling the arts forward. Bernardine and Aisha have spent the last 2 years in collaboration, growing together and facing challenges universal to the creative endeavour. This event serves both as a celebration of their work and a call for emerging artists around the world to strive for excellence. And on the note of literary excellence, I'd like to invite Bernardine Evaristo and Aisha Haruna Hatta to the stage. Thank you both so much for joining us. Just to properly give you your flowers, I want to introduce you properly. Bernardine Evaristo is the first black woman to win the prestigious 2019 Booker Prize for her novel Girl, Woman, Other. that deserves several rounds of applause. She's the author of 10 books exploring the African diaspora and numerous works of short fiction, poetry, drama, essays, and journalism. She has received over 80 awards, wow, honours and nominations, including the British Book Awards Fiction Book of the Year and Author of the Year. She is Professor of Creative Writing at Brunel University, London, and President of the Royal Society of Literature, the first person of colour to hold the position in 200 years. Wow. Aisha Harina Attar is part of a new generation of African writers who are making their name in literary circles. The Senegal-based Ghanaian author has published 5 novels: Hamatan Lane, Saturday Shadows, The 100 Wells of Salaga, The Deep Blue Between, and Zainab Takes New York. In all of these works, she strives to create historical fiction that challenges existing preconceptions of Africans more through her vibrant storytelling. Amongst her many accolades, Attar was a finalist in the William Saroyan International Prize for Writing, longlisted for the Prix Les Afrique, and shortlisted for the Wilbur Smith Adventure Writing Prize. Welcome. Brandon, I want to start with you. Your influence and body of work is incredible. Not just transcending literature, but as an activist within the space, as somebody who shares the space and brings people up alongside you. There's so much that you've done. It feels like you've had an influence in so many emerging writers' careers, and thank you so much for that. I want to start with your journey as a writer and in the arts. What sparks your interest, and how do you think you're uniquely placed to have mentored Aisha as a writer?
Okay, Aisha is amazing, and it's been an absolute joy working together for 2 years. My journey, I'll just précis it, because it's very long. It began going to the youth theatre when I was 12. I grew up in a working class family in Woolwich in South East London. I've discovered the youth theatre, and that was my introduction to the arts. I loved it. It was a space where I felt very welcome. When I think about it now, all the children there were probably considered outsiders in some way. So it was a lovely, very equal, warm, welcoming theatre space for me. And I spent my whole childhood going there. That was my social life. Then I went to drama school, trained to be an actor, also became a writer at the same time, left drama school in 1982, and maybe was interested in giving black women any work. So, you remember Annie? So I formed a theatre company with 2 other actors from drama school called Theatre Black Women, and we toured for several years, wrote the plays, performed in the plays, and then the company grew, brought in other playwrights and actors. And then by the end of the 80s, I left theatre behind and became a writer, published my first book, which was a poetry collection in '94, and then subsequent books. So my journey has been a very long one, and I've witnessed how our culture has changed hugely in over 40 years now, where black British people were completely peripheralised. Nobody was interested in giving us work in the arts. You very rarely see people of colour on television, and in theatre. Our books were not being published, 1 or 2 exceptions always, but that was it. To a situation where we're now, it's never been more fertile. There's so many opportunities currently for black British artists, writers, and people of colour in this country. We don't want to go back. We don't want the Trump triple effect to affect this country. We have to be very careful about that. So this journey that I've been on, which is a very long journey, I think has given me the experience to choose Aisha, because there was a really selective process that she had to go through, and to work with her over 2 years. Because we're both, I'm of Nigerian origin, Aisha is Ghanaian, we're both very committed to Africa in our literature and in different ways. Fantastic. Almost a kind of grassroots coming up through sort of, difficulties and creating space when there are, like, things that are in the way. So, I love that you were able to still produce work and kind of foster communities whilst also doing the writing. And, that's absolutely incredible. And Aisha, I wonder if you could talk about your journey as a writer and published several books. I'm just amazed, honestly blown away that you've been able to do this outside of, like, having infrastructures and having access to that. It's hard enough doing it with that in place. So, it's just phenomenal. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your journey and also coming to the point when Bernadine Evaristo as your mentor. I mean, Jesus, talk about landing well. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
I count myself so lucky. She's amazing and she's been so generous. She's like a friend now. No, it really is. I don't know if she wants to see me after tonight, but I grew up in Ghana. I grew up in a very artistic family. My parents were artistic types. My dad was a graphic designer. Mom worked in the radio station, and then they had a newspaper at some point, a magazine. So this is the kind of world I grew up in, and they were poor. They were poor. So my instinct was to run away to do something that would give me money. So I wanted to study medicine. So after about 18, no, actually 21, I did biochemistry. I studied biochemistry in the US, and I was pre-med. And at some point, my best friend was here, and she just said, what are you doing? And I said to myself, what am I doing? So I applied to journalism school, and that was it. I just switched tracks and went back into the creative arts, because it was something I was doing all along. Even as I was running my way through high school, I would work in the school yearbook. I was writing bad poetry in my journals that I'd end up burning. But it was always a still small voice telling me this is what you want to do. And it wasn't until I got to journalism school and started writing. But even then, what I really wanted was to write novels. And I got the chance to move to Senegal to work with Alikwe Ahmad, who's the author of The Beautiful Ones and They Were Born. I spent 9 months birthing my first novel. And it was such an amazing experience because everything was taken care of. We just had to write. We were spoiled. And this was on the continent. So it began to, I guess, show me what could be done outside of New York and London. This was in 2007. So I'd come to the US for college at that point. I'd lived in New York. I'd hustled. I'd done the editorial assistant job, because that was what a lot of people did who wanted to work in publishing. You'd end up as an editorial assistant. If you were lucky, then become editor one day. So I sort of started doing that in the visa one out. Still going through visa woes as we speak, but then I decided to move back to the continent, and that just changed my life at that point. So I wrote the first book, and then did a bit of back and forth, coming and going. I got my MFA at NYU, and all along, I've had luck with guides. I've had people who held me up. So even in New York, I was working with a fashion designer who let me work 3 days a week so I could write. And she paid me well enough to pay New York rent with 3 days a week. So I'd write my books. I wrote my second book that way. And then Alikwe Ahmad said to me at some point, well, you know how to write now. You have the technique, but come and deep in what you write about. And at that point, I lived in New York for 5 years, and it sort of plateaued. And so it was a no-brainer. I just got on the plane and went to Senegal and haven't looked back. But over the years, I've been writing. I've had a book published by Bibi Bakari Yusufi's here, and that book did really well. But I felt, again, a bit stagnant. Like my books, I want them to travel far and wide, and I was beginning to despair when the call from Words came in, and that was a life changer, because I have a small ice cream company. I was doing the math. I said, okay, maybe I can become an ice cream mogul to survive. In a small village, probably not, but and the call just came in at the right time. So I came here 2 years ago, met Bernadine, and I was lying in my bed with some version of COVID or something, and the call came through. Bernie chose you. I was like, wow, okay. And it's been an amazing 2 years. So yeah, that's the nutshell story.
That's phenomenal. I also, I also had the sneaking suspicion that you would have been carried an ice cream maker for some reason as well. But no, yeah, absolutely. But I love that writing was a thread in your life, and this is often how it is. This is often how you know that this is what you're meant to do, because you can't quite shake it. You always pull back to it. I studied law at university. It's a very African, the medicine and the law, and I was falling asleep in lectures, the unsexy units like contract and tort, and I was writing, so that's how I knew that the writing was the important thing. But I wanted to talk about the process of mentoring and, why it's so important. I remember being mentored when I first started, and it was through Spread the Word. And it was so incredible just to be seen, to have somebody that could read your work and give you feedback and make you feel like it was possible, that it wasn't this intangible thing that you could never reach. Could you talk a little bit about that, what it actually involves, and why it's needed? How does it work?
Yeah, mentoring it's almost sort of like an apprenticeship, I guess. And it's something that's taken off maybe in the last 10 years or so. And I've set up some mentoring schemes with the Royal Society of Literature and also with Spread the Word, because that one-to-one relationship is an incredible relationship. It's very different to being in a class with other people, where you're having to share the teacher's teaching. With a mentorship, everything is specifically tailored to your needs. And it is a form of passing on, which of course is what relates. Relates are really keen on transmission, right? And that's something that I strongly believe in. But I think, so for example, a writer has a chance to grow exponentially in a mentoring relationship, much more so than if they were on a creative writing course, because it is so intense. I chose Aisha because 4 writers were brought to London and we spent a week together. Aisha had already written 5 books, and I didn't want to put my energy into somebody who wasn't going to develop a career. The others hadn't yet written books. But we also got on very well, which was very important. There was a rapport between us. We have been laughing for 2 years, I would say. We shared the same sense of humour. But she was also really keen to develop her career to the next level. So, for me as a mentor, it's not about me holding all the knowledge and passing it on to Aisha. It's about an exchange of ideas and boosting her skills, perhaps where it's needed, because I have done line editing with you, going through your manuscript and going through it line by line by line, but also talking about sort of life skills and career skills. I've done a lot of personal development work over the years, where I've developed myself and my self-confidence and positive mental attitude and goal setting and all those things, which we talked about at the beginning. And then networking is really important. Sometimes we underestimate the fact that we exist in a world where there are all these connections between people, and if you're outside of that, it's very hard to find a way in. So Aisha lives in Senegal. Most African writers who get published don't live on the continent. They live here, they live in somewhere in Europe, or they live in America. So in a sense, Aisha is sort of cut off from the sort of publishing centres as such, and the publishing communities in person. And so we've travelled a lot actually through this mentoring, and some of that has been about networking and introducing her to other writers. You mentioned community, which is really important. It's very hard to be an artist if you're isolated. I mean, some people may have a myth that you spend your life in your attic and write books, and then 200 years after your death, somebody discovers your work. But to be honest, we're not that patient, right? We want it now. So, and also we learn from each other as writers and artists all the time, all our interactions. I'm part of many writing communities in this country, so that was also really important for Aisha. But Aisha was also really receptive. So I am not a prescriptive teacher. I'm not telling anyone. I teach at university. I don't tell people how they should do something. As I said, I'm sharing my ideas, but Aisha was very, very receptive to what I had to say, and that was really important. And that is also what really struck me when we first met. A, she had read my work, which was really important. If you're going up for something, try and read their work or know their work. And also she wanted to learn from me. And I've learned from you too, but you've also learned from me, and that has been a really fertile area of growth for you, I would say, as an artist, because I'm considerably older than you. I've got about 20 years on you, I think, and a lot of life experience. But you also have a lot of life experience, which is what I wanted, because originally when I was approached, they said, we want you to choose a young writer. And I said, no, I don't want a necessarily young person, because people come to, people have different stages in their lives, and they don't necessarily correlate to their age. And I was very interested in working with a mature person who kind of has a really strong sense of self and has already developed a career, but wants to take it one step further.
Yeah, amazing. I was just thinking about your different styles, because you're very experimental, Bernadine. Everything from The Emperor's Babe, which was a novel in verse set in Roman London, which I adored. I think that was the first time I came across your work and it blew my mind. To Mr. Loverman, which looks at, their lives. Currently a series now. I'm sure everybody is watching that and loving it. To Girl, Woman, Other, which just celebrates, the different narratives of black women in such an expansive, intelligent and ambitious, rigorous way. So that was, it's been incredible to see your trajectory in terms of the work you produce. And Aisha, your writing is more narratively straightforward, but just so stunning and powerful and interested in African history and centering that, which is so important. And, I read The 100 Girls of Seneca and I was just like, completely hooked. It's a novel that deals with pre-colonial Ghana, but also female friendship, which is amazing. I always love a novel that's about that. And it reminded me of Chibe. This kind of scope of it, the ambition of it, the sentiment, the intention. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So how has that been, being different in that way? What's the process been like for you, Jonathan? Or for me? Why don't you ask Aisha that? Yeah, no, I'm going to. I'm going to ask her that too. Yeah, what's the
I think for me, working with Bernadine was a chance also to be a little more experimental than I usually am. And when I started working on this new novel, which is set in the past, it's about 4,000 BCE, and I started writing that section and loved it so much that I just got sucked into that world. And then Bernadine said, it's all well and good, but if you want it to work, you need your modern character to anchor the modern reader in the novel. So then it became, okay, how do I connect these two? So I got to have these interesting questions, these interesting conversations with Bernadine, and for me it was great because usually these are things you wrestle with yourself behind your desk, and it's only until you finished it and then you send to maybe your beta readers or to your agent that you work out the kinks. But I got to do that in the writing process, so it's quite helpful to have you as a person to bounce up ideas, and it made me less afraid to write that far back. to be that bold. So Madam Madeline, 4,000 BCE, like, who do you think you are? I have Bernadine behind me, so, and she wrote the Empress Bay about a black woman in, Roman England. So, yeah, I think for me it was just, your presence allowed me to break away from what I love to. I really do love historical fiction, but to even take it deeper than I've ever gone. So that for me was that process of having someone to just say, can I do this? And having you say, yeah.
I think one of the things you said something about staying true to 4,000 years ago, and I said, yes, but your readers are not from 4,002 years ago. You need to be writing for a contemporary audience. And also, there's very little information about ancient Libya. We did go to Libya, by the way, in southern Egypt. It's one of the trips we took, which was just incredible. There's very little information about ancient Libya, so you had a lot more freedom when you were giving yourself, because nobody's going to come to you and say, yeah, they didn't do that, they should. Very few people know much about it. You have, as a writer, I give myself a lot of freedom, and so I hope that I encourage you to be freer with what you're doing. So in answer to your question, Alison, the thing is, even though our styles are very different, Aisha is, I should have said, she is a fantastic writer. She's an absolutely wonderful novelist, beautiful, atmospheric writer, very sensitive, very quiet, very hypnotic writing. There are certain tools that we use as writers, right? So that might be descriptive detail, which was a challenge, wasn't it, for you to write about ancient Libya without having gone there, and also there not being a lot of recorded information about it. Descriptive detail is one of the ways we have at our disposal to immerse the reader in the world that we're creating. And if you're writing something 2,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, you want the reader to feel a sense of how things smelt and tasted and sounded and so on. So at a level of all the sort of fictional components, including structure, including narrative drive, we had those conversations, didn't we? How to make a fiction really propulsive so that the reader is forced to turn the page and read on. Because that's one of the keys to writing successful fiction. There has to be a purpose. You have to have narrative drive. You have to put obstacles in front of your reader, because otherwise nobody's interested. As I say to my students, happy lives are good to read but not to read, right? You've got to get the problems. So that we're having these conversations. We've been having these conversations for 2 years, haven't we? Because it's very ambitious to write about a part of the world that is not really very well recorded. It is about having a mission, isn't it, which Bernadine has given you. Let's return to the beginning of your 2 years together with the film. Literature really gets into who we are, how we operate in the world at large, in our communities and society, and story is at the heart of who we are as human beings. Hi everybody, thanks very much for coming to this event with Aisha Haruna Attar. Aisha is German, and she's already written 5 books. She is incredibly talented, but she's outside of the literary centres of the world because she lives in a village in Senegal. And one of the things that we need to learn is how to develop your career, because that's how you get your work out there into the world.
I think I write from a really primal urge. I've always written since I can remember, because I have chosen to live on the African continent. It's not easy, especially if you're not in the centers of New York and London. You write a book and you want it to be read. You want a readership. Just before the mentorship, I was on the precipice. I was so ready to give up. So
this is a very fun part of the research, isn't it? It really is ancient history.
Yeah. When I found out she lived in the Neta, I just thought, wow, this is really going to be life-changing.
Unbelievable, but also some of it's really interesting.
Because it's set in so so far back in time, are there things that you did to make it credible?
To my benefit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just treated her like she's living today.
Okay.
Beautiful writing, by the way, based on what I'm seeing here.
We writers learn a lot from listening to other writers talk about their books, talk about their process, talk about their ideas. So coming to Trinidad is a really important part of the mentoring because it's a literature festival full of primarily black writers.
Please welcome Alicia Haruna-Atta.
We're here to participate in events, but also should be networking with the writers who are here, and that's really important as well.
Tell me more about Anna's eyes. She's really opening up her world to me. That's what it is. She's just introducing me to her world, and she's very connected. For me, it's going to be wonderful to have this without having this kind of like little village in Senegal, which is what I always wanted to do. To have access to the world and to be in a village.
Aisha, I want to talk a little bit about what it's like operating outside of a literary mainstream hub such as London or New York. How has that been for you?
It's really wonderful, to tell you the truth. I think I mentioned earlier feeling like a plateau. Being back in the continent is like just being out in this open field, and there's just limitless possibilities. You can go straight, you can go left, you can go up. There's so much room to create what you want because you're not saturated. I felt in New York at some point like, okay, everything that needs to be done has been done for me. So coming back to the continent has been a chance to create from scratch. I mentioned my ice cream business. And it's true, I saw that I live in a village where the sun shines, 24/7. 365 days out of the year, it's like the ocean, and there's no ice cream shop. Sun and ice cream go together like that. So I created it. I'm a writer. Libraries have saved my life. I've always found them to be happy places. There wasn't a library in my village, so I created one with the young people there. So I felt like I had that space to create. I think what is difficult is, like I mentioned in the video, like once you have created, having the product have been, especially for both writers.
Yeah, I'm like pulling and turning this off.
I've been lucky and I've had this opportunity, and now it's coming to life just